Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for joining me in my latest video. We have here a patient who attended with bilateral occluding earwax, and it was this their left ear that the patient was really experiencing symptoms from. And these symptoms included otalgia, so earache, tinnitus, which is any sound, but most commonly it's described as a ringing or buzzing noise that originates within inside the ear or inside the head, so it's not due to an external source that you're hearing it. And of course reduced hearing. And they had visited a well-known high street chain on 2 occasions in an attempt to have this removed, but on both occasions the patient found it very, very uncomfortable. And so they decided to visit myself after doing some online research, and the patient advised that they had been using drops because they were advised to use drops prior to attending the other 2 visits on the high street, but the wax was still quite dry, and it's possible that when the patient was inserting the drops it wasn't the head wasn't tilted across enough to allow the drops to penetrate, or 2, they have got quite a narrow bendy ear canal, and it could have been that the oil just didn't penetrate into the ear and it just drizzled out without actually going and making contact with the wax. So this patient's wax more laterally where we're working at now, so when we say lateral we mean more to the entrance, came away quite easily, and there's a bit of skin here as well, you can see that I'm peeling away, but they've got a more medial plug of wax that was a bit more tricky to remove, and this more medial plug of wax is extremely dry and hard. And where we are now, the patient's ear canal narrows in the midsection, and beyond that it widens, so this plug that's situated deeper in the ear, it's larger than this section of the ear canal, so we're going to have to squeeze this through. If the wax was soft, then it will be more straightforward, because as we're bringing it through, the wax it's more malleable because it's softer, and we can tease and wriggle it out. But when it's dry like this, it's a bit more tricky. So before I tackle that, I'm just going to get all this residual debris from the midsection. So this is the narrowing that I was referring to, exactly where we are now, where the forceps are. So the ear canal narrows and then it widens again. Just trying to clear this entry. And you can see the wax beyond that, it's really dark, so it's been there for a while. It's oxidized. Freshly secreted wax is more of a orangey, yellowy colour, and as the wax matures and ages, it darkens as it oxidizes. So I'm just using the forceps, trying to just peel away some of the skin, which is, again, you can just see how dry this skin is. Okay, so I've just put a bit of olive oil in, just to help, not to really soften the wax, because this wax is so hard, it's going to take a while for us to use the drops in order to soften it. So I'm using it more as lubrication. And you can see I've brought this wax plug forwards and it's trapped at this narrowing. So I'm just using an ear pick. I'm going behind, trying to penetrate it. So I've managed to insert the tip of the pick into the core of this wax plug and bringing it forwards. And this is a stainless steel ear pick, and you can imagine the force behind this. But even then, this plug of wax is just trapped at this narrowing. So I'm just going to go back in to see if I can give it a little wriggle and eventually remove this using forceps. The patient did find it slightly uncomfortable, and you'll see the back section of the ear canal deep in the ear, slightly red, and this is where this wax plug was making contact. One of the symptoms I mentioned earlier, this patient was experiencing was otalgia, so earache. And I suspect it's because this wax was making firm contact against the canal wall. I'm just using the forceps again, just managed to get a good enough grip, and we just pull this through. And if you watch till the end of the video, you'll see a really good still image. So see, it's a bit wobbly there. Patient was just moving slightly. If you find it slightly, as I said, sore, You can see that how that back part of the ear canal is slightly red, but it will settle down. And just using the Jobson horn. So I'm developing my own ear correct, and it should be available in the next 2 or 3 months. And in comparison to the Jobson horn you're seeing there, it's a bit more of a unique geometry. That Jobson horn is extremely circular. You can get an oval shaped Jobson horn, and I've created something in between. It's the tip of the Jobson horn. Well, I'm going to call it an ear correct. It's a bit more tapered, so that's going to help to glide the correct in between wax that's up against the canal wall, and that tip is going to be a lot narrower compared to the Jobson horns available on the market now. And at the more proximal end, the Jobson horn thickens, and I've got a curvature of the Jobson horn to match the curvature of the ear canal. So really excited by it. We've tested it, had it 3D printed, and we're just getting them moulded now. And the length of it, so it's kind of a hybrid almost. It's in between the oval and the round Jobson horn, but it's got this tapered tip. So it's almost like a diamond shape. It's the best way I can describe it. It's not quite a diamond, but it's like a spade and shovel. And I've got an ear pick similar to the metal one, but the geometry again is a lot easier to use. And we've also redesigned an ear hook, which has got a bit more of the tip of the ear hook is a bit more tapered again, so it gives you a bit more penetration, a bit more angulation as well. So cleared the blockage out from their right side. They have got this really sticky keratin that's coating the canal wall. Just going to spend a bit of time trying to scoop as much of this out as I can. There is going to be some residual keratin on the canal wall. We're not too bothered by that. It's just on the canal wall, and a bit of wax on the canal wall. It's designed to be there. It helps to moisturise the skin, prevents infection, and also acts as an insect repellent, and it captures any foreign bodies entering into the ear from the environment. Now, this patient still felt blocked, particularly in this right ear, and you'll see they've got a blocked eustachian tube. The eardrum is sucked in. And in this side, we know it's a long-standing issue because when the eardrum's sucked inwards, it wraps itself around the scutum, which is the top part of the bone near the eardrum on the roof, and it can also, the eardrum, when it's sucked in, it wraps around the bones of the middle ear itself, so the hammer, anvil, and incus, and so that's where the eardrum should be, but at the top, and you're going to see another image in a moment with the arrow, the bone is missing here. So we can see the neck of the malleus and the head of the malleus, and that bone's eroded because when the eardrum's sucked in, it compresses against the blood vessels, capillaries that's supplying blood to that part of the bone. And it's normally in the attic. We call that an autoatticotomy. And the eardrum normally gets sucked in the attic. It's a bit thinner compared to the main body of the eardrum. So it's just eroded away because of lack of vascularization. So we've given some treatments to help unblock the eustachian tube. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care and speak soon. Bye.